You're watching The Buddy Pough Show, featuring highlights of the defending three-peat MEAC champions, South Carolina State University Bulldogs. Our sponsors are State Farm Insurance, Palmetto Health, Orangeburg County, the United States Coast Guard, the South Carolina Education Lottery, the Regional Medical Center, Advanced Diagnostic Imaging Center, Fats Cafe, Bill Owings Custom Clothing, and Whitash Furnishings. And now, here's head coach Buddy Pough and our host, Ernest Robinson.
And welcome once again to another season of South Carolina State football as we talk Bulldog football with Bulldog head football coach Buddy Pough. This past Thursday night, the South Carolina State Bulldogs ventured to Mount Pleasant, Michigan to take on the Central Michigan Chippewas. It was Central Michigan coming over with a 21-6 win, coach. When you look back at this football game, it was a game that really, I guess, was decided just about by 2 plays.
It was. They made their 2 and we didn't make ours. It was too many punts for us and not quite enough stops for them. So, you know, it was a game that we were in all the way, but at the end, we didn't quite get it done.
You know, the thing about college football, you don't have a preseason. That first game is live action. It's pretty tough when you take on a Division I ball club, but I thought we played pretty well.
We did play well at times, and I'm excited about the new direction that we're going. Our offense is a little bit different. Defensively, we got some new guys in there. We had a bunch of freshmen played at one time. We had 4 freshman defensive linemen at the same time in the game at one point, and then our offense is a good bit different with the advent of the spread zone read attack that Derek Wiley is trying to run for us now.
Interesting since you said that. Let's take a look at the starters on Thursday night, how we got things underway as far as South Carolina State. And you look at the offensive line coach, Tristan Bellamy's been there, but some new faces as well. There
are some new faces. Dominique Wilson is now at the offensive tackle spot, and you know, we've got a freshman playing there. We played Devin Flowers at one of the guards most of the game, and you see Dwayne and Trey Williams and Ashton Jordan is in there. So, you know, we got Derek Wiley at quarterback now. Malcolm Long's gone, and, you know, we at a new place now.
Defensively, of course, you look at South Carolina State on the defensive front, and Ronell Ferguson, Malcolm Reed getting a start, and Pat Washington.
Right, Malcolm really hit that quarterback pretty hard early in the game. I think that maybe threw his game off a little bit, and then you got Courtney Ingram, coaching his own standby 9, Joe Thomas, Christian Thompson, and Donovan Richards playing our linebackers, and then our secondary, you know, Dominique Ellis and that crowd back there have a pretty good task ahead of them to hold the standards of where we've been in the past.
The specialists were very busy on Saturday night, and I'm talking about, of course, Blake Erickson, who punted 12 times but knocked down a couple field goals. We'll take a time out here on the Buddy Pough Show. When we come back, we'll get to your State Farm first half highlights after this timeout.
Furnishings for the set of the Buddy Pough Show are provided by Whitash Furnishings. Whitash Furnishings is a proud sponsor of the Buddy Pough Show.
It was a warm Thursday night in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Much like South Carolina, Coach, you talk about temperatures up around 90 degrees.
It was very similar to the way it was here weather-wise, and it was I thought, a little bit of an advantage for us until they kicked off, and then at that point, they almost ran it back to open the kickoff. Toby Goodson from over Lower Richland finally gets him out of bounds, and then they throw a little flat pass out in the flat, and you see Joe Thomas missing in there, and then the rest of our guys gang up on him, Donovan and Yard King and the rest of those guys. Malcolm Reed gets in there and gets a little bit of a play, and then they come back and they run a little deep ball pass here. And this is actually the 4th play of the game, and we get a little bit too tight on that good wide receiver. Cody Wilson catches a touchdown pass of about 45 yards.
45 yards on that pass from Ryan Ratcliffe to Cody Wilson. Point after touchdown good, made it 7-0 Central Michigan, but South Carolina State didn't buckle as we come back now with our first possession of the football game.
Right, they kicked the ball off, and Scoot catches the football, and he goes about to the 20-some-odd yard line, and then we go around the end here. And this little play here is one that we put in. We call it a jet sweep, and Caleb Davis is running around the end, and right here we actually pitch it to him, and he gets the first down here. Ashton Jordan's got to cut the end. Our running backs now have to block as well as run, and you know, we'll try to get that thing going where we get those guys to kind of run around the edge, and then after that point, then we can give it to the running backs and let them run a little bit. You see Ashton coming off in there, running for a pretty good little gain there.
9 yards on that carry for Ashton Jordan, the leading rusher returning for South Carolina State. Devin Ware with the little zone read, keeping it himself.
Right. We end up pulling the ball there, and we actually get a pretty good gain, and then we come back here and we throw the ball out here to Tyler McDonald. I like to see Tyler, maybe try to split those guys and try to run the end zone, but he runs out of bounds. That makes a nice play, and then we fake the little handoff again. I think we have a lost yardage play that somehow or another. We end up going for a third down conversion here. We don't quite get it, and we give it to Blake, and he kicks the field goal through here from about 41 yards.
Really quieted the crowd, Coach, because when you come back and answer after they scored with that field goal, makes it 7-3 South Carolina State trailing Central Michigan, 9.5 to go in the first quarter. But obviously, the crowd could tell that we came to play.
They could, and, anytime you come right back that way and get a score, you really feel good about yourself. So our offense was feeling good, and we thought we were in pretty good shape. That, you had no idea you was going to punt 12 times after that point.
Pat Washington with the deflection of the Ryan Ratcliffe pass, and this is where the defense really started to step up.
Right. We made a nice play there, and then we come back here, and we almost had a chance for Mason Harris to pick that thing off and run in the end zone, but didn't quite make him. Then we didn't quite block the perimeter like we needed to here. We throw the ball here to Tyler McDonald, a little jailbreak screen, and we ended up having to punt the ball here, and Blake really blasted a big one here, and the Cody Wilson kid from their place catches it, and David Davis gets a good tackle there. Not only can he snap it, but he can tackle.
And then the defense, of course, Coach, you talked about the number of guys you're able to play up front. I talk about the freshman front. I think this was the experienced guys getting in there. I think that was Leon Smith putting the pressure.
That was Malcolm Reed getting in there, yeah, and getting in and making a little play there. And then, we end up stopping them on third down here. We got a punting contest going here now, and at the end of the first half here, first quarter, we run down here and come up a yard or two short here, and I think we end up punting again to them after this. We actually thought that they would come after our punts. We had seen them come after this style of punt a good many times last year, and Blake punts it down here to about the 4-yard line. He's really had a good start here. He kicked the ball well. He punted. He averaged 39 yards a punt for about 12 punts, excuse me, and that's always pretty good, especially when you take off the yardage and pin them deep in their own territory.
There's your Joe Thomas out of Blackville, South Carolina, with the big tackle with Christian Thompson. Again, this is another 3-and-out for Central Michigan.
And that's Joe Thomas again. That Joe and Yara King making plays that those linebackers really can run. Those guys were running backs in high school, and anytime you recruit those skilled kind of guys that way, then you got a chance to to have a guy that can make plays all over the place. This is the little we fake the pitch outside, and then Wilder runs up inside and gets a first down conversion here, and we come back and throw the ball down the middle here. This is Julius Pendergrass up at Chester, South Carolina, one of our freshmen that's playing a good bit here for us, and they get an interference call on them there, and then we give it to Ashton here, Ashton Jordan on the little split zone play, and he goes for about a 3 or 4 yard gain, and we try a long field goal here. I think Blake misses this one. This is about a 48-yarder, somewhere in that neck of the woods, and he's just barely off to the right a little bit.
Misses that field goal from 48 yards. Central Michigan takes over again, and all of a sudden, lightning striking for Central Michigan.
Yeah, we stick one of our freshman DBs in there, and he kind of gets turned around. The guy gave him a double move. He tried to go inside. He tried to go outside. He probably just should have stayed outside and then broke on the ball. And the next thing you know, they're up 14-3.
That was Titus Davis on a 67-yard pass play from Ryan Ratcliffe, as Coach says, to take him up 14-3. Again, you come back on offense, Coach, and this is where we really started to struggle a little bit trying to get things going.
We did. We did gain a little yardage here, and Wilder runs off the backside of the zone play, and we end up punting it back to them here, and then they come back here, and we get them stopped here in a way where we look like we're going to get another score here. Mason Harris intercepts the ball here. They think he's going outside, and he fakes him out a little bit and goes inside, and we come here and we throw a little ball here down the flat, and this is one of the instances here I'm saying that we did not convert. We're on the 7-yard line here on first and 10. Yeah, and first and goal, and we end up having a bad snap, and we get it back there, maybe 7 or 8 yards behind where we were, and then the next thing we know, we ended up kicking a field goal.
Bulldogs settle for a 31-yard field goal from Blake Erickson. Ryan Ratcliffe back on the attack. Bulldogs pick him off again, this time Joe Thomas.
This is right at the end of the half here. We got about a minute something to go in the half, and Joe picks it off and runs it down there close, and you go out, you try to get your hurry-up offense going, but the next thing we know, the half's over.
That was where the first half ended. South Carolina State trailing Central Michigan 14-6. We'll take a time out here on the Overview Show and come back with more after these messages.